His video is about to get very surgical.
Well, they have lost 9 straight.
Chasing that farewell tour, they don't love you like that.
By 17, by 46, is at 144.98. Victory here in Oakland, and by 13 earlier this month. And a 46-point Golden State win. Steph Curry with 43.
So I was going back to GNX to see if I can find more evidence of the theory that I had put out a few days ago. I don't know if y'all see my video. Kendrick Lamar is not gonna let J.Cole slide this time. And I'm not gonna lie. When I went to the Squabble Up music video, there were some theories out there that were kind of loose when it first dropped. But with the new information that J. Cole has been releasing, there's some pieces that we can put together here that actually amplified the theory, bro. Genuinely, this is not clickbait. This is not none of that. I think by the end of this video, if that old video I made didn't convince you, this one will. I'm telling you, stay tuned to the very end. So I want you to notice, you got the features, RLTD, all that. Then you got the off season, which is dropped already. We got the off season. I think that was 2022 of some sort. So if this was updated, you could cross that off the list. But then you got It's a Boy. And then you got the fall off. So if you're looking, you notice It's a Boy got skipped. We went straight to the fall off. Why is that? That's an important question to ask, an important question to keep in mind. Especially when you consider the fact that there's been credible sources, in my opinion, my personal opinion, that have been saying that J. Cole might also be coming with a mixtape on top of the double disc, The Fall Off.
Shout out to J. Cole. He got a project coming out called The Fall Off, and he got a mixtape where he used some of the locks. He rhymed over Money, Power, Respect, and he rhymed over Can I Live. Killed them shit. So Cole is coming back in a major way.
Kiss is saying, right? J. Cole has a whole nother mixtape where he's rapping. And it seemed like he's rapping over classic instrumentals, which low-key is fire. I rock with it. But why wouldn't it be safe to assume that It's a Boy is gonna be that mixtape? I feel like that's what a lot of us have come to understand at this point. That's the conclusion that people have made. We don't got no announcement for It's a Boy. It's you feel what I'm saying? Why would that not be the mixtape leading into The Fall Off, the double album? I put the fact that people been speculating since J. Cole rapped his life in reverse, right, on the Diss 2 track, he could have been potentially setting up the mixtape, considering the last few bars were about him being born and before his birth. So he could have been potentially setting up It's a Boy with the release of that song. You gotta add in the fact that he's already announced the double album on February 6th. His birthday's on January 28th. Either a surprise drop of It's a Boy or the announcement of It's a Boy makes the most sense. It's your birthday. It just makes the most sense, especially if you want to dominate that cycle leading into February 6th.
Fuck, I got hits, I got bucks, I got new paper cuts, I got friends, I got foes, but they hard.
People, including myself, already seen Squabble Up as Kendrick Lamar taking shots at multiple people. One of those people being J. Cole. But I don't know if y'all remember, but there was a theory surrounding this specific scene in the Squabble Up music video, and it was centered around the fact that there's a blue and a pink balloon behind Kendrick Lamar while he's reading this book. And what do blue and pink balloons usually represent? What are they usually synonymous with today? Gender reveals.
Turf and get cracking, double back like a deluxe.
Close at this book, right? On the cover it says, How to Be Like Kendrick Lamar for Dummies. I feel like all of us know this by now. But I think in the time we could have just been thinking, okay, this is just a book that Kendrick is selling or whatever, right? But when he decides to place this book in the music video, has got to be intentional. This is at the same exact time you get the blue and the pink balloons. So I feel like if that is a message to J. Cole, this book is probably a message to J. Cole. We'll come back to that in a second though.
But it ain't deep enough. Fuck a plea, there you go, beat him up.
Fuck a plea, there he go, beat him up. It just seemed like all the lines that could be aimed at J. Cole are being shown during the time where he's reading this book and the balloons are behind him. I don't know. I could be tripping.
Brody won't go, but I know that he popping it. It was wolf tickets on sale till I silenced it. Pipe down, young, these some
sale till I silenced it. Ironically, around this bar, you get to see Nate Dogg's double album, right? And initially, we thinking, okay, this probably means that Kendrick Lamar is getting ready to release a double album of some sort. But what if it's a little more layered than that? Now that we got all the puzzle pieces and assortment, let's break this down one by one. First and foremost, the pink and blue balloons. It's already been a theory, it's already been a thing that people have talked about in the past, but it didn't really have as much context that it does today. That could really simply be Kendrick Lamar referencing It's a Boy. That connects to the next thing. This is Kendrick Lamar referencing It's a Boy. And what Jadakiss is saying is true. And J. Cole is actually coming out with a mixtape where he's gonna be rapping over classic instrumentals and stuff, right? Is that why Kendrick Lamar rapped on Made Niggas on GNX? Is that why Kendrick Lamar chose to rap over a classic instrumental as well? Because he's aware that that's what It's a Boy is gonna be? Think about it. What if Kendrick also has a project or also has a slew of songs where he is rapping over classic instrumentals and Reincarnated is a preview? That's just one of the things. That I think is interesting. But let's go to this next thing. Kendrick Lamar is reading a book called How to Be Like Kendrick for Dummies, right? At first it's like, okay, but really think about it. What's one of the main knocks against J. Cole in his career? That it feels like he's just copying Kendrick Lamar. Now, I'm not gonna be somebody to say that it's that simple and that it's that, like, it's probably a lot more to it. But when you really think about it, that's the knock regardless. You feel what I'm saying? So Kendrick goes ahead and drops an album that's dedicated to the hometown, and boom, boom, J. Cole does the same thing. Kendrick's not the first person to do that. That's cool. But then Kendrick goes and drops an album that's more funk, that's like really stepping away from the hip hop sound, so to say, right? The straight commercial rap sound in general. J. Cole does a similar thing with For Your Eyes Only. I mean, even with the titles, To Pimp a Butterfly, For Your Eyes Only, like, it feels like two albums that were very inspired by Tupac, right? Very inspired by Tupac. Then you get Damn, where Kendrick is going more for the charts. He's dropping bangers. It's way more digestible, commercial, all that different stuff. J. Cole does the same thing with KOD, where he's going for bangers and going for the charts and all that, and boom, boom. I mean, bruh, even down to the taxes. Kendrick Lamar is talking about the taxes in To Pimp a Butterfly, and then here comes J. Cole doing the same thing on KOD. Now, Kendrick's not the first person to talk about taxes, but that's something to note.
But I know that he popping it. It was wolf tickets on sale till I silenced it.
Kendrick Lamar shows Nate Dogg's double album. This is after he shows the pink and blue balloons, which could be a reference to It's a Boy, right? If we're going in order, right, based on how J. Cole typically mocks Kendrick Lamar's approach, in theory, right? The next thing that J. Cole would have to mock is Mr. Morale. Yes or no? And what was Mr. Morale? A double disc. If we look at it from that perspective, even when we listening to disc 2, right? That whole song felt like he's breaking down his life in a similar approach that Mr. Morale has. He's rapping his life in reverse. He's talking about his father leaving and all this different stuff. It seems like he's getting very deep in his personal bag, which I think is his best bag. I think J. Cole's best bag is when he's in that vulnerable bag. This is not to say he hasn't done that before, but what if this double disc is that? What if this double disc is him peeling back the layers of Boom Boom His Life? That would be a mockery of Mr. Morale. And if we're going in order, that is the next album that J. Cole would, in theory, mock. Interesting. With all that being said, here is the actual theory. We all know celebrities communicate with each other in ways that we can't really see or understand because there's behind the scenes stuff that we're not there for. You feel what I'm saying? And there's just things about the industry that we're not going to understand in general. So we won't be able to have real perspective on certain things. My theory, though, is that Kendrick Lamar is communicating with J. Cole through the Squabble Up video that I know what you're going to do. Right? I know that It's a Boy is a mixtape where you rapping over classic instrumentals. So let me show you what it sound like when I get on classic instrumentals. Reincarnated. J. Cole's not gonna be able to do anything to match that. Right? Then you got your double disc coming out. I know the fall off is a double disc. Telling J. Cole, I know the fall off is a double disc. Right? I got my own double disc that I'm gonna end up dropping. And that's gonna be the way that they clash. And I think that if you really look at it from that perspective, Kendrick has been telling J. Cole this whole time. More blood be spilling, this just paint the me. If you go back to my first video, you need to see more of that context. But Kendrick has kind of been communicating this to J. Cole for a minute. That he's gonna give him a Paul Pierce moment. Think about it. If you punch him in the mouth, right, and then you get to just drop another song and then act like and apologize for it and then drop another song and pretend like you was gonna win the battle. What is a better way to get back at you than to get back at you during your farewell tour? When you're supposed to be walking off with the flowers and walking off with the, you feel what I'm saying? What is a better way than to get at you at that time? And I think Kendrick Lamar is communicating to J. Cole, not only do I know what your album is like or what your project's gonna be like or have an understanding, but I'm also going to step on them. I'm also gonna step on them. I think that's what Kendrick's been talking about this whole time. That's my theory. I think the Squabble Up music video was to further communicate not only to J. Cole, but mainly J. Cole, that it's time to squabble up. That you can't just do that and get away with it. And I want you to think about it. Kendrick Lamar kept emphasizing on the tour, right? At the end of the tour, I will be back. There's more music coming. There's nothing to debate about that. There's more music coming. Why would Kendrick go back to these places? Why would Kendrick be going back to these places in general? And you feel what I'm saying? Not to mention that things have been leaking saying J. Cole's supposed to be going on a world tour for the fall off, which would be essentially his farewell tour. But imagine if you drop a project around the same time and you go on a stadium tour. You are quite literally giving J. Cole his Paul Pierce moment. You are quite literally giving J. Cole his Paul Pierce moment. They don't love you like that. You thought you was Kobe? That's what Draymond said to Paul Pierce. And if Kendrick were to do something like this, he would quite literally be giving J. Cole the Paul Pierce treatment on his farewell tour. And I think he's been hinting at that this whole time. And I don't even think he's gonna get on there. He might not even diss. It might just be battle for battle, like album for album. If Kendrick Lamar is the one that's gonna stop J. Cole from getting a #1 or boom, 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 comparing the tours side by side, it's gonna look crazy. Even if it is a Baby Keem project. You feel what I'm saying? So it's... I think that's all my bullet points for the theory, though. I believe so. Is that all I wanted to get across? I think that's it. Yeah. You feel me? So the balloons reincarnated. Man, imagine if we getting a actual mixtape from Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar just rapping icing instrumentals, and then you got one from J. Cole too. The potential of what this could be is crazy. I feel very good about this theory. I know my theories don't be hitting when it comes to Kendrick Lamar at all, but I think this is a good one. I think this is a good one, y'all. At least somewhat. You feel what I'm saying? We're gonna keep building on this. I do want to talk about Baby Keem too, and how it's actually realistic that Baby Keem could be dropping very soon, based on events that happened a couple years ago where a similar situation arose. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, especially if you're new here, especially if you've been here. And yeah, y'all have a good damn day. All right, I'm gonna catch y'all.